Hi, I'm Katrina, and I'm going to be talking about the conflict in Yemen and their civil war that is happening right now since 2015. I'm going to give some background about the Yemen conflict and what led up to it. So, this has been going on since the early 2000s when the Houthi group, with its origins in Yemen's northern border with Saudi Arabia, began waging a low-level insurgency against the Yemeni government. This was happening in 2004, and the Houthis are Shiite Muslims. The intensity of the conflict had its highs and lows over the course of the 2000s, with several peace treaties that were going on, but none of them were ever honored. So in 2009, the Houthi insurgency heated up, and this also brought Saudi Arabia on the side of the Yemeni government, but stopped by 2010. The following year, after another peace treaty was signed. So, in 2011, as the President Salah was preparing to leave office, the Houthis attacked a Sunni village in northern Yemen. The fighting between the Houthis and the Sunnis continued. In July of 2015, led by President Hadi, the government proposed to split the country into 6 regions. The Houthis tried to take over the presidential compound and prompted the resignation of Hadi, and the Houthis announced the end of parliament. Yet, actually what happened was that the president moved to the port city of Aden, and all of the government continued from there instead of in Sana'a. So that is what has led up to the current situation of their civil war. It has been reported that over 16,000 people have been killed during the war. This includes at least 10,000 civilians. And in addition to all the people that have been killed, there have been at least 42,000 that have been injured and countless others that are suffering. It's hard to nail down what would be one reason for the civil war beginning, but it definitely has roots when there was the political transfer of power from President Salah to President Hadi. So who is fighting this war? And no one is currently winning after 2 years. There are the pro-government forces that are led by the president, Hadi. These are the people that want to stabilize the government and bring peace in that way to the country. This also includes Yemen's neighbor to the north, Saudi Arabia. The other group is the anti-government forces that are led by the Houthis with the help of Salah. They want to change the government and make things better for them. It is actually debated whether Salah is helping them, and also Iran is part of this because they're helping the forces for the Houthis to win. So there are several types of conflicts that are taking place in this civil war. There are ethnic and religious conflicts. There is a territorial conflict that is going on. There are governmental conflicts and economic conflicts. There is also the unconventional conflict of terrorism. This map shows all the different groups of people that are in control of Yemen at the current time. It shows the parts of Yemen that are controlled by the Houthis and the pro-Salah forces, and the part that is controlled by Hadi and his government. There is also areas shown where Al-Qaeda has presence or control. So this helps to illustrate the different types of conflicts. One is that of the religious and ethnic. The Houthis and the Sunnis have been fighting for many years and continue to be fighting. Both groups are Muslim sects, but they differ in their ideologies. An example that is more relatable to Americans would be the fighting that would take place between Catholics and Protestants. There is also the territorial conflicts. There is a clear delineation of the Houthis and the government-controlled areas. Also, in addition, there is Iran and Saudi Arabia that are taking sides in this. Iran is supportive of the Houthis, and Saudi Arabia is supportive of the government side. So this map shows where Saudi Arabia and Iran are in relation to Yemen. So they both have a hand in this conflict where Saudi Arabia is supporting the Yemen government and Iran is supporting the Houthis. They're doing this is part of the economic conflict because they want they both want control of the narrow waterway so that they are able to control the oil. Most of the oil, or much of the oil in this region, is shipped through that strait. So if Saudi Arabia has control of it, they can keep Iran from shipping, and vice versa. If Iran is in control, they can keep Saudi Arabia from shipping. There is also the conflict of terrorism that is happening on a daily basis through their country. One example. So now moving on to the humanitarian issues in Yemen. Over 500,000 of their children are starving. Over 2,000 of their citizens have died of cholera. Most of them are children, and they are not getting the food and medicine that they need. Saudi Arabia is blocking their ports much of the times as a power play, and it's keeping the people from having food and medicine, and people are starving to death. So now the UN is investigating Saudi Arabia and others for the war crimes, and we'll see how that turns out if they're going to be prosecuted. Lastly, here are some references and some page for further reading so you can learn more about the conflict in Yemen, and thank you for listening.